Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review where the hosts of the What Do You Say Anime podcast nominate and vote on shows either we haven't seen or shows that hopefully lead to a great discussion. On today's episode, the clean quadruple of the What Do You Say Anime podcast will be reviewing the 1987 anime OVA, The Dirty Pair. Let's meet today's wanted space criminals. First up, in honor of today's episode, he wore the same socks from yesterday. We have Jay. Jay, how's it going?
Are you supposed to change socks? I haven't changed my socks since the Saints won the Super Bowl because I thought that would give them a lot of good luck. But it hasn't been working too well.
You might want to change your socks. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be time.
Cut in really quickly. I've been pretty anti-socks since you joined the Discord.
Ooh,
so
That's fucked up.
Shout out to Socks if you're listening to this. You're my free run buddy.
Socks never change.
Never change.
That's what I was trying to say.
Our first moderator tonight, he was so overwhelmed by this series, it landed him in the hospital. We have Miles. Miles, how's it going?
It's certainly possible that this show is what landed me in the hospital. But also, maybe it was something else.
Maybe?
I'm not sure. We'll never know. We'll never know because they didn't tell me why.
Exactly. So you're saying there's a chance. And Pat.
Would you say those socks of yours, Jay, are a Dirty Pair OVA?
Overall.
Was that the joke? Okay.
Yeah, that was the joke, yes.
Okay, cool.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Like a pair of socks, so that's why I didn't mention the word pair. Yeah, okay, we got there.
Yeah, no, I got you. That's
I didn't
good. That
get
was
your joke either. I thought I was just being clever, like being like, oh, haha, dirty pair of socks. There you go. I thought it was just a dig at the Saints. I don't know.
Nope, I was trying to make a dirty pair of socks joke. Apparently, I don't know. You know what? Sometimes they land, sometimes they don't.
No, it was good. I was just smooth brain, dude.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, yeah. So let's talk about the Dirty Pair OVA. As I think Pete mentioned, it's from 1987. We did this for J Week. At least we're done nominating shows for People's Weeks. But yeah. So the Dirty Pair OVA done by Studio Sunrise, by the way, as well, which known for doing Bebop, Code Geass, Inuyasha, a bunch of different shows that everybody loves. One of those iconic studios from a long, long time ago. So yeah, let's do our first impressions. This was a 10-episode OVA that apparently was a sequel, although it's like a sequel in the sense that like Pokemon X and Y would be a sequel because it's a very episodic show, so it doesn't really matter for spoilers, I don't think. At least that's not the impression I got. Miles, why don't you start us off with your first impressions?
I will say it doesn't matter because we technically watched what I believe is a sequel to a whole series and 2 OVAs, and it didn't matter at all. I think you could really just sort of pick up from where you were. So I nominated this, but I didn't really know what to expect going in. I thought it would be sort of like raunchy 80s romp, and I picked it because Jay had nominated it and it was this week, and it like intrigued me because we don't watch a lot of stuff that's this old, and especially not stuff that's like not insanely acclaimed, right? Like really whatever. And so I think the show is like pretty well known for anime fans, like older ones, but it's not Akira. That's my point. I was pretty pleasantly surprised by this. I had a good time. I thought the show was fun. It sort of reminded me of like, I don't know, Scooby-Doo or something. Just like a lot of the visual humor and the gags. Episode 2 has like a lot of stuff ripped straight from Disney, like Disney characters being villains. And I loved that because I feel like you just get your ass suit off today. Because this was like a O and A from 1986 or whatever in Japan, like they could get away with that. So I thought that was fun. I thought our main leads were pretty charismatic. I thought the music was like funky and 80s like, and I liked that. I don't know. I had a good time. I'd recommend it. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Give it a watch.
There you go. All right. Jay, what about you?
Overall, I'll just start off by saying that I do recommend this, and here are the reasons why. So, like Miles said, it's on YouTube. All of it is on there for free. Unfortunately, it is just the sub that Nozomi has provided right now. There is a dub available, and we'll talk about that later, I'm sure, but you can't find that on YouTube. You can only find the sub. So it is pretty accessible. And like Miles said, I think that this is something a lot of older anime fans enjoy. And I think when you watch it, it's pretty clear to see how it's inspired quite a lot of things that, we kind of like grew up with in our anime life. Like, this is the progenitor of Girls with Guns, I'm pretty sure. So thank you for Licorice Recoil. Pretty sure that Panty and Stalking are just straight up based off of these two, like, in a lot of ways. And apparently the writers of Star Trek The Next Generation also had quite a massive love for this show as well, putting like 8 to 10 references to the show in the series. So if that doesn't tell you how iconic this is, I don't know what else will. I think that it's worth watching just to kind of get like a slice of anime history, and it's not like a long watch or anything. It's 10 episodes for an OVA. You don't have to have been invested in the product beforehand at all, because from what I understand, the character designs and stuff change from series to series anyway, so it's kind of like it's separate from a lot of the other parts of the IP, so you could definitely enjoy this OVA on its own if you kind of wanted to get into it. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
Alrighty. And Pete, what about you?
I had some preconceived notions going into this. Looking at the PV art, I was like, this looks like an 80s hentai. I was like, you know what? I don't know. And then I went to the Mal page and I saw that Shinichiro Watanabe was an episode director on a few of these episodes. I was like, you know what? I'm back in the game. And then I looked to see who the main director was and went by a guy named Katsuri Yabate, who is famously known for directing Boku no Pico, and that took me out of it. That's right. The guy who directed this story in Boku no Pico. I wish I was making it up.
This is my Joker moment.
Yeah. So going into this, I was like,
oh my God. You're telling the truth.
I'm not making this up.
You guys aren't seeing the vision or some shit. I don't fucking know. Whatever, man.
In his defense, he made this first, then Boku no Pico. Maybe that means something, but at the end, the guy did end up making one of the most famous anime ever created. So,
well,
yeah.
Wait, what the fuck is Pico to Chico?
What do you think it is? Take a wild guess. So, with all that said, and just like how the girls looked, I kind of had this notion that maybe that they were going to be like overly sexualized, and it really wasn't going to be a show that I was going to enjoy. But turns out, I fucking love this show. It was so much fun. The first couple episodes, like the first episode itself, kind of like really explained in brief detail kind of like what they're doing and who they are and what the world is, and I was like, that's plenty for me to understand what's going on. And yeah, I fell in love with this series pretty quick. It was really fun. The only thing though, in the first episode, there's a guy playing with a yo-yo, and it's the sound of like a party whistle. I was like, okay, so the sound budget was $12 of the show. But other than that, it was a really good time. I would recommend this to, I think Jay mentioned it. If you like Licorice Recoil, I think you'd really like Dirty Pair.
I think that's a very interesting comparison. I kind of disagree with it, but
that's because you watched the dub, and we can get into that.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Again, I still like the show. I would recommend it to people to try it for the sake of trying it. I don't know. Try it. Try 2 episodes. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And then from there, you'll know. Like, things don't really change. It's very episodic, which is good or bad for some people as well.
Also, watch the
are really
dub,
cool.
Apparently,
yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't know. The dub was funny at times. It was just like what was going. It's just stuff that I again like what we talked about before the show. I interpreted the things that I didn't like in the dub as being just, it's the 80s, so they said what they wanted to say, not necessarily being it being a fan dub or not. I don't know. What I really have to say, though, is that Pico X Coco X Chico is a heartwarming story about 3 boys discovering their true selves, and is perfect for family movie night. So
you've seen it. You would recommend it for family movie night? Is that what you're saying?
That's what Hyper Bunny of Doom is saying.
Oh. Wait, what's your Mal username again? Hyper
Bunny.
Exactly. No, this anime is a true artistic masterpiece with a beautiful, meaningful story. and it teaches us all about life and why we exist. And they spelled exist wrong.
Wow, I can't believe you ruined the next Mal
review game. I was like, do I want to save this for the next Mal review game? And I was like, no, I'm not going to remember it. So I figured I'd throw that out there.
Just put it on like a notepad on the corner of your desktop at all times.
I'll put it right here, so that way I can remember it every time I look at myself at work in a Zoom call. I'll see it right there.
You just gotta go all out and buy a Pico figure and put that on the shelf behind you.
You won't
Apparently.
do it.
No, I won't.
Coward.
I know. I'll stay scared the rest of my life.
Yeah, same. I'm afraid.
Scared and scarred for the rest of my life if I ever had a figure like that. But yeah, I don't know. Let's get into it. I think just because I'm the naysayer, I'm gonna be coming off as super negative about this show. I was fine with it. I don't know. Wasn't for me. Not my cup of tea most of the time. But sometimes it was pretty funny. And it was never like miserable watching it. It was just, which to me is like what like watching Pokemon is like, because it's so episodic and that didn't ever really feel like the episodes were connected to me. Which is
I've been really into Pokemon lately. The game's not the show, but like really hyper.
The games are fun. Yeah.
Yep. You should get on the Pokemon sleep grind with me.
Okay, we'll do.
Nice.
I'll start it right now.
Mine would be so bad. At the last 2 days, I've slept for like 4-hour segments because I've been like waking up randomly.
It's unironically been helping me sleep better, but unfortunately, this podcast is not sponsored by Pokemon Sleep.
But if you do, let me know.
Word, that'd be dope.
Someone hit up Niantic or whatever company they worked on it with. But yeah, let's get into it. So I guess spoilers going forward. Spoilers don't matter; they're irrelevant. The show is episodic. Nothing happens that's real. It's real, but doesn't like change anything, I guess. So let's talk about episode 1. What did you guys think about the way the series opened? Like anything that stood out to you?
The goofy sound effects for me, for sure, in the beginning. With the yo-yo, really, I was just like, this show is going to be a blast because I feel like they had like one sound guy for the entire show. And it's like, okay, we need to make a sound of somebody doing a yo-yo. Go record it. And he's just like, I don't fucking know. And he finds like a whistle and goes, whoop, whoop. And that's the sound of the yo-yo that made. I was like, yeah, this show's gas. It was so fun. It's like space prison yo-yos making sounds of whistles. Why not? Let's have a blast. And the whole like how they like trick the guards into, oh, there's a wire there, but psych, we're gonna electrocute you anyway and start this whole uprising inside the prison. I was like, it was so like outlandish and fun. I was just like, I'm fully on board immediately.
Yeah, it felt very like pulpy, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like I was reading like an old school like comic or something like that. Or I could have seen it or felt it in like a arcade shooter or something like that, like a side-scrolling adventure where you're just like blasting through goons and the environment all the time.
Yeah, I definitely, it like has this charm, and I wonder if we were watching this in like 1987 or whenever it came out, right? Like more things would be done like this, and so I wonder how that would like affect our point of view. But to me, we're so far removed from how this was made that this is like so refreshing to me, right? Like there's a lot more like physical comedy. I feel like it sort of like harkened to a lot of like Western, like maybe like Hanna-Barbera cartoons or whatever, with like the legs moving really quickly and then them like skedaddling away. And like, we'll talk in like another episode, but the whole sequence at the end of the Halloween episode felt like the Scooby-Doo going in and out of doors thing almost. It just had like this interesting charm to it. And I also thought that there was like pretty good tension on their like job, like with the prison thing and everything. Like I think they did a good job of balancing the comedic bits with the serious nature of invading a prison. I don't know. I did really enjoy the episode though. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed the way that it was kind of like an intro to the world, showing us that while not necessarily like a hard sci-fi world, it's pretty grounded overall, apart from like the copious amount of destruction that the Dirty Pair bring with them whenever, they do anything, which is why they're called the Dirty Pair instead of the Lovely Angels.
Copious is a good word here. It's ridiculous how much shit that they destroy.
Yeah.
They are so bad at their job.
It reminded me of Trigun in that way, where like Vash's whole thing is that he just makes like a copious amount of like property damage, and that's why he's being hunted down at the start, is because the insurance adjusters are looking for him to pay his fucking bill. I can see that being an issue in like the main series or something like that, because from what I understand, in the main series, they do have development where they stop like utterly decimating things every time by the end of the 26 episodes. So maybe for the 2-core next year, I'll recommend Dirty Pair.
I think a more apt thing than Trigun is if you've seen The Other Guys.
Oh yeah,
That's sort of what this reminds me of, because you have like
yeah.
the buddy cops, and they're like bad at their job but like charming and also destroy everything. I could see the explosion bit in that happening in this, right? Like,
yeah.
where they try to look good or something while walking away and they just hit the deck. But that's sort of the tone. Go ahead, Pete.
I think this is the episode where they show like that in 2 different scenarios they're responsible for something like 250,000 deaths and injuries or something like that. It's like they are terrible at their job. Like,
yeah, one time they blown up a weather control satellite at least twice, and the one time they talked about it, they said that it was ravaged with gigantic typhoons for over 7 months.
Yeah, that's episode 3.
They're like flying away, and they're like,
whoopsies.
Yeah, it's like, wait, that thing we destroyed was a weather satellite? Ooh, and then you just see the planet with all of these like clouds forming. It's just
Yeah, but at least they put down that evil religion doctor or Wizard of Oz looking thing.
Yeah, they stopped the cult, which had brought peace to the world.
Yeah,
through nefarious means.
I appreciated that episode. I guess we're skipping around a little bit, but I don't know who gives a shit.
Yeah, we're the dirty trio or whatever. How many of us are there? 4.
4.
Yeah, okay.
We're the dirty quadruple, as I said in the intro.
Okay.
Anyways, in that episode, I liked how they took like little bits from every religion and like kind of made fun of them, you know? Like they made fun of like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam all at once with that, you know, rather than like picking on one specific one.
What I liked about that bit was when they were doing like the stereotypical like your religion can't stand up to science, and he was just like, my religion is based in science, and they were just like they were like okay, well, we still have to stop you.
Well, he's like, yeah, I just control all of the science in the world, so that means I'm God, you know, or whatever.
It's like, this is a science-based religion. It's just like, and I just love that it was like a record scratch.
Feels like a fucking like Aqua Teen Hunger Force villain or something like that. I don't know. Yeah,
it did when he was chasing them, right? With like the glowing thing.
Yeah.
There was almost like a moment, like again, like not Aqua Team Hunger Force, but like it felt Scooby-Doo like to me. He's like chasing them. He's scary. They like demask him or whatever. He's a horrible robot thing or whatever. But like it was cool. I liked it. It's not a vibe I get from a lot of anime.
Yep.
So
can we talk about the Stormtrooper aim in this series?
Let's not discredit Stormtroopers,
because they were like literally running from hails of bullets the entire time. Like, I guess it's kind of implied they have battle damage, because at one point we see Yuri patching Kay up after they've never been bloodied or anything like that.
They should have died many times, and like it's not even like, oh, they were getting blaster lasers shot at them, so maybe
it was bullets.
It was bullets and lasers, both of them at different times, and it was just like, I don't know, man. Like, there's a difference between like suspending your disbelief and just being like, how did they, like, what was the point of having? Well, I guess the thing is, like, there never felt like there was a real threat to them, like just not succeeding at what they were doing, because they never like got shot.
They're the threats to themselves.
Yes, for sure, but I don't know.
I feel like in like a comedy, like they're not supposed to like get shot by bullets. Like it's almost irrelevant type of way, where it's just supposed to be for fun. Like it's obviously comedic that they're matrixing all these bullets every time that they're in a fight. And
yeah, it's definitely meant to more be on like the cartoony side.
Yeah, for sure.
We're used to in anime nowadays.
There's one when we get to the episode, I want to talk about it, but
I mean, there's even bits where they're like wiggling to like you know what I mean? Like dodge bullets or whatever. It's just
there's an explosion like 5 feet away, but they jumped, so it's cool. Like
yeah. Yeah, which is which is why it reminds me of like those old Western like Looney Tunes sort of deal, you know, and like because like when people need to get shot, right? Like when anyone else gets shot at, they get shot with like one bullet, and they're just like, and they die, and like you know, but they're like, I mean, there's a point where Yuri is like flanked on almost a perfectly flat slope, and she's like leaning back to dodge bullets, and it's like nothing is hiding her. Like that was the one point where I laughed at it and I was like, that's just so ridiculous, right? Like that's not, I mean, I thought it was funny from like how could you possibly miss all of those times? You couldn't. It would be impossible. Which I guess I would say, Pat, like places I could see it hurting are like episode, was it 9 with the red eyes of death or whatever?
Yeah.
So, like, when you have
the Vietnam episode.
Yes, when you have the Vietnam episode, then, like, I actually would agree that, like, I think it maybe takes a little away from it because that episode is supposed to be more suspenseful. And they are dodging stuff insanely while all the red shirts get their brains exploded. But for episodes like, let's say, the Halloween one, episodes that are more comedic in their nature, I didn't mind the bullet barrage thing that much at all.
Wasn't the worst thing ever. It was just like, all right, it would be nice to see that they like, just every time they got shot at, it was just like,
I was just impressed they never like battle damaged their outfits to make them naked.
I was shocked by that.
I was genuinely, I expected that to happen.
Honestly,
every episode.
Apart from like the overt fan service of the outfit, there wasn't like a ton of like zooming in on their ass. Apart from one egregious scene with a ladder where we watched them climbing down a ladder, like we're just staring,
or like when
up at them,
or when a scene would like start with them walking into frame, like it wasn't a black screen you were looking at, it was their ass, you know, like shit like that would happen occasionally too. There's enough fan service, but it wasn't like so obnoxiously bad. Like what you guys are talking about, it's like the old school like hidden fan service, I guess, rather than the
it's like it's fan service.
Her tits are out, like haha. It's just like
it's as fan servicey as watching like a halftime show or something like that cheerleaders.
It reminded me of like Faye Valentine from like Bebop or something like that, where it's like she's dressed, you know, pretty fan servicey, but like that's not the point of Bebop or her character. Like
what was interesting, because like Kayla would always say those outfits, but what was interesting to me is when they were not at work, they like dressed relatively conservatively. Like
from what I understand, the OVA, like the original series, has a lot of like slice of life moments of them like living together and stuff like that and being friends, and the OVA cuts out literally all of that.
Yeah, they mentioned
that's kind of what we're missing there.
They mentioned Yuri's room is dirty. I'm like, I want to see what her room looks like. Like, I want to see that slice of life moment where, you know, they trash each other's room or their taste or something like that. Should we talk about episode 2? Because I don't know if that's everyone's favorite episode, but I think it's one of the best episodes of the series, since we're talking like the beginning batch. That we got like all these different pop culture references with like the Disney characters. We got the Terminator 2 robot being like the villain, and I thought the ending of how, you know, they're fighting this robot with like missile launchers and shit, and that doesn't work, but fireworks is the solution. I thought that was like really fucking silly, and I had a great time with this episode.
Yeah, the buff Snow White. Which honestly, buff women in this is something that will kind of just go like be a running theme for me. But the buff Snow White lives rent free in my head, not for the same reason as the next buff lady we'll talk about later on. I love that she had like 7 dwarf henchmen and whatnot. That was super dope.
That was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I like the background art in this episode a lot. It was cool that it was like in a city for the most part, like pretty lively, you know, like. I like the contrast between the like darkness of the background with the pop of the like city lights and Halloween decorations and costumes and stuff like that.
Broadening for a second, that is something that the show does well, is that like there was a pretty good diversity of settings in this that was just like sort of impressive for like an 80s hand drawn. I don't know if they're reusing things from like the show or whatever, but like that's the city, the different space stations, like they didn't reuse a lot of assets in this. I felt like settings wise or anything. Like everywhere was pretty unique, which I thought was cool.
I agree.
I really liked that episode. I liked the Alice in Wonderland people. Like I thought that was fun, and I liked how like they accidentally stopped all those crimes. None of that crime stopping was intentional.
Yep.
So, I thought that sort of played into their bit pretty well. I'd like to see those again. Those people again. Those villains come back in the sequel. The Dirty Dust
Pairs.
The pairs.
I know. I was indifferent about this episode. I'm not that attached to Disney, like at all. I don't care about. I only care about Disney because it's Star Wars, honestly. And even that, it's like, whatever. So like it was cool to get the references, and I also never seen Terminator. I've never seen like half of the shit they were referencing. I knew of it, but I was kind of just like, about it. Like I didn't care. Wasn't bad. I thought some of the jokes were funny, like the dwarves. The dwarf bit was good. That was clever. But outside of that, I had no attachment emotionally to this episode.
Yeah, I understand like the apprehension with that. It was definitely a pretty I'd say the series overall, from what I understand, it's pretty pop culture heavy in a lot of respects. So like with our generation, there might be some things that are kind of lost on that because it is pop culture references from like the 80s or late 70s or whatever, So I could definitely see how that might be somewhat of a barrier of entry for some of the stuff, or for some people rather, with some of the references. But for me personally, I haven't seen any of the Terminators movies either, but through osmosis, I kind of got what was going on. So it didn't really super affect my enjoyment of it too much. I have not seen the property or whatever personally, but I could see how it would for somebody else.
T2 is a fantastic movie. It still holds up.
Honestly, maybe I'll just go on an Arnold binge at some point.
Watch Jingle All the Way during Christmas.
Yeah. Watch
Twins.
And Twins.
And have you seen Predator?
Of course.
Welcome to What Do You Say, Arnold?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down for it.
Arnold, yes.
What if we got Arnie on the pod for What Do You Say,
DM
Arnold?
him. I got his number.
Fucking crazy. Okay, cool.
We're delving into politics now.
Yeah,
he's a Republican governor, by the way. Pete.
Yeah, we have former governor Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The first.
He looks just like Patrick Schwarzenegger. It's crazy.
Arnold Schwarzenegger got married at my middle school's church. Fun fact.
Wow.
So him
random thing.
Him and JFK.
Hi.
Huh. Well, okay.
Any connection there?
They're both Catholic.
Trent, edit in that.
Oh wait, I think he married a cousin. Arnold originally married a Kennedy cousin or something like that.
Oh, I thought you meant his cousin.
Maria Shriver, wasn't it?
And that was just the only place that would accept that is your middle school church, is they'll marry cousins.
Oh yeah, that was it. That was the big reason I went there. We're on top of shit today, boys.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm loving it.
Okay, King.
Wait, is that?
That's them.
That's McDonald's.
No, that's McDonald's. They were so on top of it today.
Yeah, just that. Yeah. Great audio content.
What are we doing? All right, do you want to start?
Do we need Kat to keep us on track?
That's it. What was episode 4?
I want to talk about episode 4 because this is one of my favorite things, because throughout this entire series, we mentioned before, they're in gun battle, laser battles, melee fights with everybody like that. And the most they ever got their ass whooped was by 5 11-year-old kids in mech suits. And I was like, that's when it was okay for them to kind of get beat up, when it was kids doing the job. I thought that was so funny. I also like that it was the kids that were running the whole situation, the war room simulation thing that they're having fun with was they're all their dads are the important people. So it's no, we can't blow them up. They're our kids. But it's like, if they were other kids, we'd blow them up. Like, yes, we would do that. But because they're our kids, we can't do that. I'm like, oh, okay. And so when they're having like the discussion with them, Yuri and Kay is just like, let's just kill them. And they're like, no, let's not do that. They're our kids. They're like, oh, they're your kids. Okay. I thought this was maybe the worst episode, but like, I thought there were some really fun moments in this.
I liked this. So one, I liked that they're. Oh my god. Okay. So my favorite bit in American Dad is is the scene where they're in heaven and someone pulls a gun from an angel and is like, "This is a heaven gun. It can kill anyone." And then like someone's like, "Why do we have those? Why did we make those?" And that was like the same thing with it. They're like, if they fire this weapon, not only will the planet be destroyed, but the entire fabric of the universe will it's like, why did you build this?
Yeah.
Why did anyone make this? It was just, so like, I really enjoyed it from that perspective. And then I liked the kids, like, I don't know, being like, I wish every show was anime. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was fun. I don't know. It was like a little weird because they were just, taking over shit for the hell of it, but like I thought it was sort of like a charming episode in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Felt like a Futurama bit or something almost. I enjoyed the episode pretty well. I do agree with you on like the universe destroying button or whatever. And it's like, why is it just a button on the panel too? Like that's
another thing that he accidentally hits.
Yeah.
It's like the universe destabilizer or whatever it was called.
That's how the what's it called? They were just predicting the Large Hadron Collider there.
Oh yes, of course.
I think they do that in Spaceballs too, right? That's just like a giant red button that they accidentally press and they have to like evacuate the ship before it explodes. Like, why did we install this?
Spaceballs is famously inspired by Dirty Pair.
Is that true?
It wouldn't surprise me.
No, I don't know if it is, but it might be, honestly.
It might have some elements to it.
What? Are you kidding me?
I mean, look, we were looking at the VN cover, and the rings they use in Spaceballs look just like these laser swords that the girls have on the cover.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other piece of media that Spaceballs might have been inspired by.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there any...
I think Smash Bros. Has laser swords in it.
Oh, that's a good point. It does.
Point.
Yeah, it was really good in Smash 1, like 64. It was
yeah,
really
there's
good.
a lot of combos with that shit.
Yeah. Kirby does this down B move that Kay also does in episode 5. I was like, yeah, I got that reference.
Oh, she turns into a rock. That
was wild, right?
Kirby used to be so good. Rest in peace, my
right.
pink little friend.
He was gunned down in the streets of Rio.
Jesus.
He came to Brazil and found out the hard way.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
Yep.
Episode 5 had the gambling episode, which had one of the coolest gambling games ever, where I'm like, this should be a real thing. Like, it doesn't have to be shooting an asteroid at a planet or whatever. Like, just like the grid system on how you could like bet. It's like a combination of like roulette and some other like fun activity that you can do while waiting to see where the meteor lands. I was like, this is fucking gas. This is so cool.
To show the difference between Pete and I was much less excited for the gambling and much more like, it's so cool that they're shooting asteroids into this abandoned planet.
I was like, all in on the gambling, baby. Because especially how they set it up where it's like they like let her win in order for her to like lose more down the road. I'm like,
yes,
that's what gambling does to you. Don't gamble, kids. It's a trap. I was like, that's such a great representation of gambling. I love that.
This podcast is brought to you by DraftKings. No,
yes. Hey, Miles, what's your parlay next Sunday?
Yeah. I like the Seahawks -3 and the Colts +4.
Hey, yo, it's the J Factor parlay of the week. It's a 19-leg parlay.
Guaranteed to make your money back, asterisk.
Yeah. Use promo code WDYSA for $200 in bonus bets.
I like Justin Fields +1 Mental breakdown. Existential crisis.
+1 plays from scrimmage.
Yeah.
Oh man, imagine he like tears his ACL tomorrow or something.
Oh no, that happened with Aaron Rodgers. They had +or-1 passing yard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't get it. No. Well, I was just more thinking like a week from now when this airs, or 2 weeks. Like how awful that would be if he somehow got injured before this. It'd be like,
yeah, it was so terrible what happened to Patrick Mahomes' pinky toe.
Yeah,
I can't believe what Taylor Swift did about it.
Insane.
She's the one who did it in the first place.
Who knew she had that tattoo on her neck the whole time? We never saw it.
Damn.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
That's what our anime fans come here for. Hard-hitting NFL inside jokes.
The highlight of that day, though, was the Mac Jones legacy game, though. Like that.
Yes.
That was sure.
You'll get it right 1 week, pal.
Well, technically, last week's was a legacy game.
So true.
If it ends up being his legacy. So
count it. Put it on the board.
Swish. Put it on the draft board. The DraftKings board. There we go.
And that was the What Do You Say anime parlay of the week.
Yes. I'll make this a YouTube short or something like that and then get the clicks.
We like the plus on the Taylor Swift felonies.
Yes, me too. All right, coming back to the actual show. Yes. I did like how they made like the guest main character or whatever, this one, like this kung fu master who's like super disciplined, and usually these people are like depicted as like minimalist, and they're devoted to like their martial arts, but like he's just a crippling gambler, and I thought that was such a great use of like polar opposites in that type of scenario, and then he just defeats them by doing his rock punching move to the machine and just breaks them. Like, no, that machine was so cool. How could you? Oh yeah, this was a really fun episode.
Yeah,
I thought the game was kind of dumb though. No, right? Miles, you're the scientist here. It's cool in concept. But like, if it's a gun that shoots asteroids, wouldn't they, just generally speaking, get sucked to the exact same place?
The grid changes, and
the grid's random, so you could do random like spin on it. Like, I mean, I don't know how the fucking Gatling gun that the asteroid shoots out of works, right? But like different size asteroids, you can like randomly orient it doesn't show them doing this, mind you, but if you're shooting it magnetically, you can like change how that works too.
They have flying cars, they can figure this out.
They can go bowling ball or something like that. Like,
you are correct.
You could shoot
if you were to drop a bowling ball down a slope,
it's space
100 times, it would go the exact same place.
But it's space and it's an anime, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I guess that was my question. Was like, how does that game work?
You could randomize it, right? There are ways to do that. It just depends how they're firing it, and like how the planet works, and like the orientation of the planet to the space station that it's following. So
maybe that planet is just fucking huge.
You are correct that if it was like exactly the same and nothing was moving in everything, then like it would do the same thing every time, which would be really boring.
Or there'd be a really significant pattern, I guess. Even if you do randomize it a little bit, wouldn't there still be the pattern?
They kill the people who find that pattern out.
Or they put fucking shit.
Well, it's important to note that like it is controllable. Like, you are right that it's predictable because they control it, right? Like, they determine where to shoot it in order. So like that's part of it. Like, the reason, like, that's a good point. Because
the whole point was it was fixed. Yeah. True.
Right. So I guess that's what my point was that it's like, it'd be cooler if the game was like, well, I guess that's why like the current
house
games
always
that
wins.
Exist. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, this was basically Buffalo.
Whoa. You put some respect on Buffalo, my man.
Trent's gonna edit me out of existence.
He's gonna add the Buffalo like bonus round. We got the parlay, and now we get the Buffalo bonus round.
Oh, the Raging Buffalo or whatever.
Buffalo, and then all the Buffaloes come.
I lost $20 on that machine last time I went.
I won
it's
$2,
all your guys'
so
fault.
it worked out great.
We're still up, baby.
Yeah, we are. So
I bought you a pizza, so
you're right. You did.
You
never bought me one.
I bought you dinner for your birthday.
True, fair enough. You
never bought me a pizza.
I offered it in Discord, and only Pat took up the offer.
Can I take up the offer?
No, it is passed. You have to wait for the next time I go to Vegas.
Okay.
The best part was it wasn't even pizza. It was Korean fried chicken. Baby.
Whatever
Let's
works.
go. Yeah.
Wait, you owe me money. I said pizza.
I invested $20. That's all.
That's all
And so
right.
you didn't pay for full. You didn't pay for all of it.
All right, cool.
Episode 5, I guess. I don't know.
That was
that
five.
was episode 5.
Oh, you're right.
Brought
Did we
6, the
skip
wedding.
Yeah.
Well,
I like
love
this
that
episode.
Me too. I did too. I liked it the whole time too, which I thought was fun. Did they make the guy? So what did they say about the guy? Well, like, oh, well, this guy's like just your type, and she was like, no, I don't know. I would like someone with more muscle or something.
I thought they did it really cool in this. So in the beginning, he's like, because he's from the island, and so he like offers the tour, and she's like, I don't like aggressive guys. He's like, okay, cool, I respect that. You know what? Next time I like playfully flirting, like next time I see you, I'll switch up my strategy. Wink. And she's like, oh, that was kind of witty. And then they kind of played that up the next time that they meet in the city. Well, I guess he saves her from the whatever the guards and the but like I thought it was like handled like really well and respectful. And
Wait, yeah, because she was like, "Aren't you going to come with me?" And then he was like, "I thought you didn't like forward guys.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't going. You already told me off once." And she's like, "Well, I'm like kind of into you now." So
yeah, I thought it was super well handled.
Kay does say that she prefers a guy with more muscles, but that I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. That's just her stating what she prefers.
No, right.
She's not denigrating him necessarily. She's just saying, not my type.
No, I was just curious, like if the dub actually made shit up like what we think it did, or not.
Oh.
Like I don't know. That's all.
No, I think it was the same for that one.
Yeah, one of us will have to go and like check the dub. Or
I found it, so I'm going to check that out after we're done recording.
Okay.
I think that's like an overall thing for the show for me in general was like I was expecting like way more fan service, way more like dudes like oogling and ogling at them and stuff about like what they're wearing and stuff, and along with the dialogue. And I didn't, I guess in the dub apparently is completely different. I thought the sub handled it like really well. There's like one case where like the dude was like groping them, but it turns out he was the fucking villain anyway, so like it makes sense.
There's
like,
a couple of like one where Kay gets like, so in episode 9 or 10 or whatever.
Oh, she's a waitress.
And then there's one where she's a waitress and she gets like groped too, and they play that off like a little way that you would have played that off nowadays.
I guess it doesn't happen. Oh, sorry, let me say this. It does happen, just not as much as I thought it was going to.
Completely.
You thought it was going to be some Master Roshi.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, lifting up skirts and touching spots.
Did we ever see their panties?
Nope.
Yeah, like it's
well,
generally...
they're basically just in. They're basically in like panties.
That's a good
bikini
point.
or something.
With.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. You could. Okay, I'm re-looking at these outfits.
They're like shorter than Daisy Dukes, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
They also randomly like their breasts just get bigger randomly in different shots and different angles in the show, which is really dumb. I mean, again, it's I know it's anime, so it is what it is, but it's.
I think that's like I almost felt like that was like I thought proportions on this like were pretty like not even just their boobs, right? Like lots of facial proportions and stuff were sort of off time to time, and I think it's just sort of like we're watching an ONA from 1987. Maybe it wasn't the highest quality thing that was ever made. Like, I don't know.
Actually, by the way, it's an OVA.
God.
Just saying. I don't know. We're an anime podcast. We're professionals. Act like it. That's all. You know. But anyway, so back to the size of their chests. Like,
You're right.
Like, let the pros handle this one, Miles. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I agree though. It wasn't just that. It was like just randomly, like there were random shots that were kind of just funky. And I just
like, to put a perspective, I think this is funny. I noticed like the way that I noticed the boob thing is I was like, wow, Kay looks flatter here. Like I didn't notice their boobs getting bigger. I was like, oh, they're smaller than expected.
Yeah, fair enough. And to be fair, yeah, like it wasn't again, given the cover, you would, like Pete said earlier, you would expect it to be a hentai almost, right? Like really you would. And it wasn't that bad most of the time, but it still did it. Like we can't pretend it didn't still do fan service and still and like we're talking about now.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like a detractor for me. Like I'm not going to remove points for it for being sexy or something like that. At least they made them fucking 19 in the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they kept insisting that they weren't old.
Well, it's
and
just
they
like,
were-
it's just like a nod to like classic sci-fi to have like scantily clad like warrior women or
Mhm.
whatever, you know, like
Yeah, like pulp sci-fi, like right,
yeah,
like yeah.
exactly, yeah. For
I
better
wonder
or
why
for
they do that.
worse.
I was just saying, I wonder why pulp sci-fi tends to do that or something. You know, it's almost like there's a
Pays the
reason.
bills.
Yeah. No, yeah. I overall thought it was good, but I do remember, especially in the middle of the show, I noticed it more than like the last few episodes. It wasn't as noticeable to me, other than when they were actually being like, you know, like what you guys are talking about when she was a waitress or when the guys were oogling her or something like shit like that would happen. But I don't know. That's not like bad. That's just stuff that happens, right? It's terrible. It's annoying, but it happens, right? Like I don't know. Episode 6 was the fuck.
That was
what
the wedding
episode 6?
episode.
That
Yeah.
was the wedding. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, and we just talked about that. Yes, right.
Also, shout out the old lady, Madame Barrel, who like threw some playing cards and sliced like 6 guys'
Yep.
throats on
Yeah.
their way out,
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
and then had a Tommy gun holding them down.
I did like that scene where he's like, wait, like, was this whole wedding an inside job? And then everyone just turns into a fucking ninja and like starts taking people down. It's like everyone involved with the wedding. I also thought it was sweet that, like, I don't know, I thought Yuri looked really nice in her wedding dress.
Agreed.
Like, I thought
Yeah.
that was, yeah.
All the outfits in that episode were actually really nice. I liked their swimsuits a lot that they were wearing at the start there.
Yeah, there was like the 2-color top one of them had that I remember being like, that was a fun design choice.
Mm-hmm. And Kay had like a crazy ass like designed swimsuit that I really liked as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Overall, the outfitting in this show is really well done.
Yeah.
It seemed
I
like they had put a lot of care into that.
The gambling episode, I thought their outfits were sick too.
Mm-hmm.
Yuri's hot as fuck.
I'm a Yuri guy personally.
me too.
I'm more of a K fan.
The K hairstyle does it for me.
Yeah, so I like that we're split 2 and 2.
Nice.
Okay,
Us trad jacks or whatever in the Northeast versus the
yeah, yes,
Midwestern
exactly.
fucking bimbo bullshit. What I don't know. Like there's a joke in there somewhere that I'm too lazy to come up with. I don't know,
But
maybe I just made it.
It's important to give this next episode to Jay because the true love of his life is in this one,
True.
which is Rigged Ring: Revenge of the Muscle Lady.
Yeah, whenever I saw Revenge of the Muscle Lady, I was like, oh, hell yeah. And honestly, yeah, Sandra the Bully, that's all there is to say. Like, they showed her, like, progress pics, which were funny to me. And, like, I also found it funny that, like, her backstory was basically like, you guys suck dick at this. I'm good. Why did you pass and I didn't? And then, like, they never have an answer for her, more or less.
No, they're
Like-
just like, sucks to suck.
It's like that episode of like The Simpsons where we meet that guy who hates Homer Simpson, you know, Grimes. I really enjoyed that. And yeah, she was just muscular as fuck. At one point she's wearing a shirt and she like just flexes and it turns into like tatters like she's the Hulk or some shit. And
That's her whole outfit.
I was hoping that Kay would take the steroids and then we'd have like a
I
fight.
wanted to say that too. I thought the perfect punchline to that was her taking the steroids and then just still fighting her. Like, thanks for the steroids, and then just beats the shit out of her because she's buff now.
Yeah.
I'm glad someone else had that thought.
I thought it was funny because I think the other day we were talking about like people who do gear and stuff in like real life and whether if they're like natural or not, and then like they do like the before and after pictures and then like you can clearly tell when they're on gear, and then this one like they do the before and after. It's like, yeah, they're taking roids. Like
I was literally I was watching Simone. I was like, "Do you think she's natty?"
hard work and all that protein. You think she's natural? Yeah, for
So,
sure.
what's gear?
Gear is
Like
another word for
It's
steroids.
slang for
Okay,
steroids.
okay,
yeah,
cool.
Or like it's not just like I guess like testosterone, but it's
The
just like it's
performance
like,
enhancing drugs.
yeah, for me as somebody who's like getting more into like fitness and finding out that like everybody that I watch on YouTube is taking gear, it's like, oh, everybody is just fucking liars. So it's like they're all doing it for clout. I'm like, oh, I learned something today, and then it just happened to be like this episode was like about that too. I'm like, oh, this is fitting.
yeah.
I really liked what they called steroid too. What did they call it in the
Hustle,
Hustle.
Yeah, hustle, which was
hard muscle, aka hustle.
or huge muscle. I thought is what they said in the dub. Maybe I don't know. Either way, it was fun. Like I thought that was a clever name for a steroid. Someone should use that trademark.
Yeah. Whenever I get my FDA approval, that's what we're gonna name it.
Perfect.
We'll sponsor this podcast too. Everybody's just gonna show up to the podcast.
We're jacked. We're gambling.
We're all at like stand-up desk, and you can't even see our faces. It's
Yeah.
just like our swollen torsos and arms.
And we're eating like Japanese treats too, because that somehow comes along, and there we go.
Fantastic. Did anybody else appreciate that whenever they were fighting and Kay did her 37-foot long vertical jump to the ceiling, they had like a gigantic cross for just hanging from the ceiling for
Yes.
Sandra
Yeah.
to jump onto it, swing on like a fucking wrestler.
Yeah.
She'd be an insane WWE diva. Like,
Yeah, she would.
damn, R.I.P. China, huh?
She felt like a little, the whole, their characters felt a little inspired by like wrestling stuff, like Kay especially, right? Like I haven't watched a lot of wrestling, but I got that vibe from her
Mhm.
generally.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say this is the highest rated episode on IMDb.
We're out here.
Rigged Ring, Revenge of the Muscle Lady.
Correct.
There's dozens of us.
Is a woman's spirit the beauty in the ring? ?
There's more than dozens of you, Jay. There's at least dozens of dozens.
I have multitudes.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so the next one I really enjoyed because it was a murder mystery, which is the one where they like try to solve. Well, one, I was like really concerned when the episode was like, this girl is older than us. And it was like this little child from the like preview. Just like, I was just like, oh no, what's going to happen? I hope it doesn't just get weird all of a sudden. And it didn't. So props to this show.
Well, it got weird, but in a different way.
Did it?
Well, she was able to escape the arms of an armed kidnapper by doing 2 somersaults.
Yes. Okay, but that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was just weird in its own way.
Okay, I thought you meant weird as in like weird. So.
Oh, no. Just weird as in like, ta-da!
But I read,
you know Hina Matsuri, when she like comes out of the coffin, she's like, ah! You know what I'm talking about? Am I the only one?
I don't remember.
Damn it. Okay,
No,
never mind. Bad joke, that JPEG. Continue.
Okay, so I like this episode because I liked Kay's arc during it. And then like I liked Tia, who's like the girl. Like I thought the somersault thing was so, I don't know why. I just thought it was so funny. Where she was like, I forget exactly what she says, but she's basically just like, Tia, like do your secret maneuver. And then she just somersaults twice.
Yep.
And it like
dope.
stops the bad guy. And then they keep having her somersault. Various parts throughout the rest of the episode, which I thought was great. I thought it was kind of dumb that they bothered trying to save that guy. Like that was like really nice, but like for sure, just scramble up that thing. Just like, I'm not trying to save you with like this thing's barely hanging on.
This felt like a Star Trek episode to me almost.
Yeah, it did.
That's a good.
I could see that.
Yeah,
Where they like stumble upon like this like
derelict
person stuck
spaceship.
in, that has like
yeah.
one person who's like in cryo sleep, and they like bring them back. They have to go and solve what happened to their ship. Honestly, if you told me that was a Star Trek episode, I would believe you.
Yeah.
So,
I was like talking to my partner Simone, who's like a pretty big Star Trek fan. I was like, have they ever done this plot in Star Trek? Actually, like it feels like it would have gotten done. Yeah, I like this episode quite a bit as well. I did find it funny that when they went to visit like her dad's student, whenever he was like, "That's my teacher's daughter. Can I take care of her?"
Yeah.
And they're like, no.
Oh, weird.
We'll have to get back to you on that." And it's like,
Yeah.
bro, like, why the fuck would they ever let you? And he's like, damn it.
and
You
like
got away again.
the camera like zooms in on him, and it's like bum bum bum. Did you guys think that the microchip with the dog was going to be? I thought it was going to help her speak or something. but it turns out she was actually just really quiet because of all the trauma, which I will say makes perfect sense. But I just thought that, like,
She did see 800 people get murdered.
yeah,
She?
no, she did. Well, no, she only saw one person get murdered because she was in her bed when the other 800 people got murdered.
But still, yeah.
So she only saw her dad get shot.
Oh, well, then actually, you know what? She needs to get over it thinking about it.
Which is
Never
pretty
mind.
traumatizing, but yeah, I agree with Jay. Get over it.
Children are too soft in the future.
Agreed.
This is the future liberals want.
Spitting. That's a joke for the listeners.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I mean, the mystery part wasn't exactly hard to figure out. They did nefariously like zoom in on that guy's face.
This
and he
is
was
basically the erased mystery.
Is that what it? Okay.
Yeah, that's more or less how they do it in erased.
And then he's like, "Drat, my attempt to murder this child once again has failed." So, but I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it had like really cool tropes and stuff. Like, I'm a sucker for an abandoned spaceship like that.
Yep.
Like, I think that's so cool. Okay, so next is the Vietnam episode. This one I personally thought was probably my least favorite episode.
Agreed.
I didn't like it that much. I didn't like it
It's a
that much
tie.
besides like the
Okay.
ending.
What was the ending? Remind
Like
me.
whenever he like takes off the fucking grenades off his back and kills those two dudes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Okay.
they have like and then at the end they show up in space in like mech suits. And personally I would have put
Yes.
like a killer guitar solo over them like meeting the guy like as they like raise the thing up, but like it was whatever. Like it was pretty cool. I liked that.
I will say
they
that
fixed
ending
it.
was cool, and I liked their mech suits. They like had kind of cat vibes to them, like
Mhm.
little like ears or whatever, and they were like gold, which I thought was neat. There was a lot of cool like suits in this, like mecha suits and stuff. They had like the alien suit in the next one, where they're like busy being Ridley, for the space truckers.
The name of that next episode is a banger too. I don't know if you saw it. It was like, "Don't listen to the bad guys. We'll be space truckers."
So the Dirty Pair fandom wiki says that it's called "Evil Speaks for Itself: Space Truckers."
Oh,
But I mean, I don't know. Let's say YouTube is right.
yeah.
Because why not?
Anybody can edit Wikipedia compared to posting a YouTube video.
True.
Exactly. No one can. Well, actually, I mean that it was an official YouTube post, right?
Yeah,
So-
it is the official Nozomi version of the dub. So we'll see.
All right. Do we want to move on to the final episode then?
Yeah, sure. Which
Space
is
truckers.
Space Truckers.
That was fun. I liked that the trucker, like the statue of limitations thing. I thought that was a funny little bit that they were like, "Yeah, we're being good people because we think you're a good person, and so we're gonna pretend that the statute of limitations apply, or we're going to use that as an excuse to not take you in." And then you find out like a scene later that they're arguing and they're like, "Wait a minute. We were supposed to take that guy in. Why didn't we? You know, like we should have done it. Like, you know, because it was just dumb. It was a very good bit though. Like that got me laughing pretty hard. Because the guy's just sitting there like, "Yeah, damn, those girls are nice," and they're sitting there like, "Fuck, we should have taken this
Like,
guy in. What are we doing?"
Okay, my thing about it is though is okay. So he just admits to killing one person. Maybe he's killed more, but do they have any room to bring this man in who saved their lives because he's killed one person after they caused like typhoons that for 7 months and blew up a planet and like caused terrorist acts in a city and blew up that rocket ship and, you know, their list of various like crimes? Like, do our heroes really have anything that they can like? Do they have the moral high ground here?
I'd say
is
so.
it? Wow.
Yeah, well, they can get away with anything they want. They're the whatever.
If you consider that they're
Right.
the protagonists,
Well, that and
And 3W, they're part of 3WA.
3WA,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Sounds like a rapping group, right? Like, you
it
know,
sounds like
it
a
kinda
yeah,
does.
or like a boy band.
yeah,
Yes,
something.
one of those two things.
No, it'd be
No
a
in
girl
between.
group, 3 women alive. That's what it would be. Be a middle-aged mom group.
Three White Angels. Not what they
And
call
that would be sketchy.
Yeah.
But anyways, they
The world welfare works.
Okay.
I'm awake.
Yeah, thank you. Now I'm getting it too.
It's my healthiest week of all time. So,
well, it's just like I don't know. I think that they were well within their realms of they were protected by the law because they were law-abiding agents of the law rather than self-defense, which you have to prove in a.
If the National Guard shot a rocket at like my town's water purification plant and blew it up, I would want the person who shot the rocket to be like held responsible.
But what if that rocket was not rocket? What if that purification pump was about to put cyanide into the water system and then it would have ruined your well water?
We don't know if that's what happened with the first weather thing. They fucked up. It could have just been like they backed into it or something like that.
It also could have been cyanide. Who knows? You know.
True.
What do you think it says on the report, Jay?
Yeah.
Also, Osama bin Laden drank water once, from what I heard.
Oh, should stop. Yeah, I should stop drinking water then.
Mm.
You know what? Who knows? Maybe actually, underneath that satellite that they destroyed, maybe Saddam Hussein was hiding underneath it.
Oh,
yes, yes.
There you go. Now we figured it out. That's definitely what.
Okay, fine.
Much like the submarine.
I'm here for it.
So my favorite part of this episode was when the rest of the truck drivers decided that they are going to fight back. There's a scene where they're overlooking space and it's blank, and then all of the truck drivers like rise up from below, and then it's like, oh, they're about to attack the ship. And so I was expecting lasers and stuff like that, but then their machines just take their cargo and just throw it at the ship. And I thought that was such a fun way to attack a ship, just like, yo, fuck you with your own shit. Like, let's go. I thought that was such a fun little combat episode of just subverting my expectations of not lasers, but let's just throw, shipping containers at a ship and see what happens. Because I guess you'll fuck up a ship, but yeah, this episode was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This might be my favorite episode. I'm trying to think. It's up there.
I'm surprised you don't like the adopted child one.
I do like it. There's only like I like every, like, there's no bad episode, I thought.
I think that we can all agree that the episodes do somewhat blend together because of the lack of slice of life and recurring characters and stuff. The episodic nature of it, I guess you might say, adds on to it. If the original series is any better of that, it might be the case where at the end of the pod, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'd recommend, if you want to watch this, I'd probably recommend the original series, I think, just because of that. But this would be a good way to get a taste of it, to see if you're kind of into it, I think.
Agreed. I think I think like 10 episodes was like perfect. If we had more of like the same formulaic stuff, I think it could get old. But like 10 episodes, I thought it was just like a great ending point, and it was just like a very fun ride.
Yeah, I would have liked a little bit more like characterization between the two.
Yep. Agreed. Just because we can like understand their background, like they're like kind of friends, they're kind of like sister-esque, I guess, and they're co-workers and they butt heads, but at the end of the day, there's like one scene where like Yuki lost her eyes, so then Kei had to be the eyes, but then Kei couldn't use her arms, so then Yuki had to be the arms, and like, they still work together and stuff, whatever happens, but they just seem like silly 19-year-olds who just butt heads sometimes, and it was really fun.
All right, we want to do closing thoughts then?
Let's do it.
All right.
I need to update the spreadsheet.
Yes, there you go. Alrighty. Well, Miles, before you update the spreadsheet,
yes,
closing thoughts and your final score.
I enjoyed the show. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was refreshing from what we don't really watch, probably just because of like the age difference or whatever. But like, it was neat. I had a lot of fun with it, and I would recommend it. I liked the sound design. I liked the music in it a lot. I liked the character design. I thought the two main leads were pretty fun and charismatic. There's not like a lot of depth there, as we've mentioned, and there aren't a ton of reoccurring characters either. But I think it's a good enough time to enjoy. So, like, again, I would recommend it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Alrighty. Jay, what about you?
Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this. I think that it's a pretty fun ride. I do wish that there was a bit more depth, specifically between the two main characters. Like, I think some slice of life moments in downtime would have really helped to kind of show the differences between the two, because, like, you get a hint that, they butt head because of how they butt heads, that they are different people who want to handle things in different ways. But I feel like this series of OVAs doesn't really do that good of a job of showing that, is my main issue. And I think that getting to see like the office character, like their office support, like the inventor and their boss and Madame Barrel and stuff, I think that would have been a more interesting route than, they're just running into the missions every time like it's some kind of like radio play or something like that. So originally I think I was on an 8 like this with Miles, but for now I think I want to give this a 7, and I want to go and watch the original series, and then maybe my score will go either up or down depending on how good the original series is, because I want to compare it.
Fair enough. All right, Pete, what about you?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching the show. I really enjoyed the chemistry between the two. I think that's kind of like what makes or breaks these styles of show. Same thing with like, I'm gonna mention again, Licorice. If you really enjoyed the chemistry between those two and Licorice, you probably really enjoyed that show. Same thing with Dirty Pair. Their chemistry was fantastic. I feel like they could have done a lot, and I would have fun like doing whatever that they would do. That's kind of hoping that there was like slice of life stuff, but we just got like the pure solve the whatever job for the day type of style, which was perfectly fine. Good comedy. I laughed a decent amount watching this, and they didn't overly do the fan service, which I was a little shocked by, just because it was made in '87 and things weren't the same back then. So that being said, I really enjoyed it. Would recommend it. I'm gonna give it's a solid 8.
An 8 out of 10. Alrighty. Lastly, my I don't know. I enjoyed it enough. I'm probably the most down on it out of the four of us, but that doesn't mean I hated it. I really did enjoy, like everyone else has said, the chemistry between Yuri and Kay is really good. I do wish we explored it more. I kind of wish I knew what Moogie did, other than drive a car. Like I get. He's the mascot. He's the what's the guy's name in Eva? Like Pengu or whatever his name was. Pen.
Shinji.
Shinji, the bland bitch protagonist. Yeah, like I don't know. I wish that we had more of them or whatever. I also did. I think they do it more in the earlier episodes, like Jay was saying with the office workers and stuff being relevant. I thought that was really fun. I liked their boss, like the dynamic that they had with their boss.
Does the pills like he's having a heart attack every time he talks to them.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was really funny. I thought that like those bits were better than a lot of the, I don't know, the jokes that fell flat for me for the most part. I would not say I hated it. Like again, most of the jokes were just like to me. So the comedy wasn't hitting, so the show wasn't hitting at all times for me. But when it was hitting, it was very good. So I think a 7 out of 10 is a completely fair score for it. I could see why people would give it an 8. And the art was really sick too. Like I always like the vintage art styles. Even though it dropped in quality at times, it was still cool. Like the vintage look is always fun. So, so doing some really hard math right now.
With really hard math for you.
With 2 8s and 2 7s, we average out to a 7.5 overall rating for us for the Dirty Pair OVA. On Mal, it's at a 7.09 or a 7.1. So that's only 2,700 users though. So I wonder what it would be if more people had seen it, like it seems low to me. I don't know. But yeah. All right. I guess that wraps up our discussion on the Dirty Pair OVA. Miles, what are we watching for Miles Week? That was the last week we voted on.
It's Miles Week. So we had a pretty tight race. In third place, we had Asteroid in Love. In second place, we had The Time Machine Blues.
Ooh.
And in first place, we have Oresuke.
Nice.
So we will be diving into some Oresuke for Miles Week. I'm excited to watch it.
And we are watching the OVA. We confirmed it's a little more than normal, but I think it's worth it because it concludes the story. And
It's like one episode.
I think it's like an hour. I think the OVA is like an hour, but we get a full conclusion to the story with the OVA. I think it's definitely worth it.
Okay.
It's
Jay will remember that.
Okay.
If I ever want to put like a 16 episode thing in or something like that.
They get it. We occasionally allow them. You just have to finagle it. You need to use some verbiage.
Well, it was established last week too when it was nominated. But I'm excited because I love this show. I think it's fucking hilarious, and I think it's like tongue in cheek enough that Miles will love it too. About like the very stupid things that it does, but it's also just
it's a fun show.
Bench-kun, baby. Oh, I can't wait.
Best Girl, or Sun-chan. It's gonna be close.
Sun-chan is probably my best girl. So yeah. All right, I guess we're going with Oreski. So then, to stay in theme, following up on that, we are nominating shows for spooky season. You know, it's spooky, whatever. Halloween coming up. So yeah, let's nominate shows for Halloween episode. Miles, do you have a show ready? Because I know I don't.
Sure, I do. I'm going to go a little weird, I think. This is drama, horror, romance, supernatural themes, gore, psychological, visual arts. So I'm going to do The Portrait of Petite Cosette, which is like a 3-part OVA series. Each episode is about 30-40 minutes long.
Ooh.
I have heard people say that it's good, but also who the hell knows? So
I've also heard people say it's bad.
Yeah, and it's not rated highly on Mal, so I'm curious about it. So I figured I would nominate it.
All right, Pete, what have you got?
I think I have nominated this like 3 or 4 times in the past, but I'm going to nominate also like Miles, a 3-parter. It is called Memories. I think it's 3 short movies.
Yeah, you've nominated this at least once.
All right.
All right, I know what I'm going to nominate.
All righty. Jay, what are you going to nominate?
I'm going to nominate Danganronpa the anime.
Oh God!
I love that.
I have to.
I love that.
Yeah, I have to vote for it, don't we? I'm indifferent. I've never played the game, so
I have, and I have to say, some people might be like, "Why are people?"
Might be able to drag Haz into this one.
Yeah, it's like some people are like, "Why are those people simps for what's her name?" What is her name? Holy shit!
Oh, Sayaka?
No, the good one.
Junko, yeah.
I will write a fucking 75-page paragraph on that.
One paragraph.
I was about to say that's a very long paragraph. Yeah,
I'll do it.
Gosh, all right. I'm stuck between 2.
Junko fucking Enoshima.
Okay. Gosh, it's hard because, like, is it cheating to nominate?
Probably.
No.
If you have to ask, then yes.
What is it?
Devilman Crybaby? Like,
no, it's not cheating.
I feel like almost everybody has seen it. Is the main issue
other
with
than
that.
Me, right? Like that's the thing, and it's also like super.
I will vote for it.
What about the original Devilman?
You won't have a choice.
I feel like Devilman Crybaby is also one of those where I would have wanted to nominate it, but I don't think we would add much to the discussion that hasn't already been said there because it's been discussed so much.
I think that.
I would also vote for it.
Exactly. Well, I would want to. Well, it would give me.
You'd have to because there's only 4 of us. But
also, I would choose to if I had other choices.
Yes, I figured. Well, I know you love to talk about it, so that's part of the reason why I'm thinking about it too. I don't know. It's like either that, or I was just looking at the horror tab in anime. It's like that, or like High Rise Invasion. So, which would you rather vote for? I guess
High Rise Invasion would be fun to shit on.
Oh my god, that show fucking sucks.
It would be very fun.
Did you finish it, Pete, or no?
Bro, no, that show is so bad.
Right,
it's one of the only. It's one of the only shows. It's one of the only shows I've ever dropped, actually.
That show
interesting because I can't wait to drop it. Then let's do High Rise Invasion because that sounds interesting to me. Because
you honestly have my vote just so I could shit on it.
Yeah, it would be fun to. Again, like how bad can it be? Like it's a 6.71. People know what they like.
It's not terrible. You know?
Yeah. No, it could be. It could be like a 6 or a 5.
There's a scene where she's running away and the sound of her shoes are like a half a second.
Yeah, I
So
remember that.
while she's like jumping, essentially, they're making running noises. It's so bad.
Maybe there's an echo that you weren't aware of.
She
in
is
the
on a
high-rises.
high rise.
Yes, that's how echoes happen in high rises between buildings. Maybe you just weren't thinking hard enough, Pete. About
I
the show.
don't think you know how
That's what-
sound
yeah.
works.
Pete doesn't have the lore behind.
He just
High
doesn't
Rise.
get it. He doesn't know, and that's
I
okay.
was very excited for Half a Second because I thought this was Other Side Picnic, but it's not.
No, it is high rise.
That is also terrible too.
It's a really good light novel though that they butchered, but it's also gay and therefore
True.
can't be that bad.
True.
Um,
You're making good points.
All right. Anyways, all right. Well, happy Halloween for that episode. I guess we'll find out in 2 weeks what we're watching. But in the meantime, everyone else watch Oreski with us. Yeah, I guess that wraps up Watch Club for the week. Pete, why don't you take it away?
Yes, and if you want to support us, the best way to do so is to like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you are watching or listening to us on. The next episode you will see after this one is the Oreski episode. So tune in for that. And then afterwards, it's going to be the fall first impression. So look forward to that. The season's actually been really good so far, so I'm really excited to talk about that when we get there. But otherwise, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time. Peace.